My name is Gerry, I'm from Wild Eye, and this is the 4th episode in which you can ask your wildlife photography questions and I will try and answer them for you. So far the feedback has been fantastic, thank you. Yesterday's discussion around what is wildlife was quite interesting, both in the office and in the comments you guys have been posting online. Check out the Wild Eye Facebook page, add your thoughts there, some interesting stuff coming up. Also, before we carry on, I need you to subscribe. Hit this button over here so that you don't miss any future episodes. A lot of content going to be coming up both from these episodes and other stuff. You don't want to miss out on anything. But for now, let's get into the questions.
Jennifer asked on email and Danny on Instagram, depending on the situation, when do you shoot in manual and when do you shoot in aperture priority?
This is a question that comes up very often. Danny, Jennifer, thank you for that. Do you shoot in manual or aperture mode? For me, single answer, we can do this in one word, aperture. Right, next question. No, let's dig in a bit. Penny, what are you shooting? Aperture. Marlon, aperture. Andrew, aperture. Okay, so my quick survey shows that 100% of wildlife photographers shoot in aperture mode. Okay, it's a small survey, but it works. Here's my reason though, is aperture is without a doubt the most creative tool you have to change the look and the feel of your images. Blur the background, making it slightly dreamy in some cases and about the subject. If you want to tell more of a wide story, open it up, open your depth of field, and include some of the background which gives context to that story. In manual, I have professional, see there's the word again, professional wildlife photographers saying that you have to shoot in manual because that's the best results, blah, 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 whatever. I tried it, have tried it in the past. For me, when I'm shooting, and I know animal behavior, I can predict with a reasonable amount of certainty what these things will do, yeah? Even in that case, if I've got a control manual, which means I'm controlling aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, there's 3 things I have to keep on changing while I'm busy shooting, even 2 things. If I change aperture, I have to change shutter speed. I would rather just change my aperture and allow the camera, because it's an expensive tool, let it do what it's designed to do. Let it choose the shutter speed for you. Now, if you understand the relationship between aperture and shutter speed, you should know, that you can, if you want to do the slow panning stuff, I'm quite a fan of that, I don't have to change mode into shutter speed. I can just change my aperture, which will slow down my shutter, and I can shoot my panning stuff and go straight back to the crisp, wide open stuff as well. Understand the relationship. If you don't get it, send me a question, I can deal with it for you, step by step. Short version, aperture mode is the easiest and I think the best way to photograph wildlife to affect the look, feel, and ultimate stories you're going to tell.
Joni asked on Instagram, when I am editing my pictures, I can never tell if they look good in a larger size. How do you know when you have a great shot that can be enlarged? What editing program do you think is the best for wildlife?
Joni, this is a cool question because I did a blog post a while ago on the Wild Eye Photo Chat blog with regards to how big an image will print based on the dimensions thereof. Go and check that out. I'll link it for you down in the comments. How large do you want to go? On a 60D, which you have, you should be able to go nice and big, even up to like A0. I remember years and years ago, I shot in the Seychelles, did some landscapes there, and I shot, I think it was a Nikon D50, which was 6.1 megapixels way back. I thought it was awesome. And I shot that and I blew that up without any enlarging software, any funny adjustments, just normal processing up to A0. So your 60D, you should be able to get very, very nice size images that look good quality-wise as well. If we're talking about the webs and uploading to websites, wouldn't worry about it. Because if you post at 72 dpi, you should be able to go 2560 at your longest edge and you should get perfect quality on there. So go and check out that blog post in which I give you an idea. You can calculate how big that image can be enlarged to, but on your camera, Joni, that you're shooting with, no problem, go big. Now, second part of your question, I'm going to pin my colors on the mast one more time and say, Lightroom is the best processing software for wildlife photographers. I can hear you Photoshop guys jumping up and down and telling me how masks are great and layers are great and Lightroom can't do this. Here's my argument for you, Joni, specifically. If you're looking at getting into processing, Lightroom is without a doubt the easier option. The user interface has been streamlined to make it easy to, and here's the thing, jump between loads of images, process one, come back, process another one, come back. Go back to the previous one, process that, and come back. It's all in one program, which is a bonus, because for wildlife, we do shoot a lot. If you're shooting action, great migration, and those kind of things, you're going to shoot a lot. You don't want to be jumping between two programs to do that. Second of all, park Lightroom and Photoshop next to each other. The raw processing power between the two is exactly the same. When they update one, they update the other one. Yeah? Lightroom is just a sexier version. It's a better user interface, no doubt. So for me, if you want to start out, or if you're looking for a way to streamline your workflow, Lightroom all the way.
Sarah asked on Instagram, where would you suggest going and at what time to see the smaller cats, caracal, serval, etc.? Black-footed cats, if that is even possible. I would very much like to see the natural wonder of the Great Migration, but I have some concerns. One is related to the number of people and vehicles, especially at river crossings, and concerns about the animals being disturbed and potentially adversely affected by human presence.
Sarah, I have absolutely no idea. I think that's the best I can do on that one. Marlon, question. Where would you go to see caracal, serval, and black-footed cats, please? Marlon's looking like, he's like, we don't know. See, those Kalahari is probably the best bet, because there, you need to look at areas then where the vegetation isn't too dense. These things are small. I mean, they're tiny little things. It's one of those where you just get lucky. You can go to the Kalahari, caracal, serval, you might get lucky. But it's not the same as going for lion and leopard and cheetah and those kind of things. So I think I'm going to stick with my first answer of, I don't know. Right, Sarah, to pick it up from there, migration. Your concern around people and vehicles messing up sightings and your experience is very legit. Because there are complete idiots out there who have no respect for the wildlife, which is your concern and mine, or the experience of the other guests. However, that being said, if you know where you want to go and what you want to experience, you should be able to tailor-make your experience by stacking the odds in your favor. What I'm saying here is, if you want to see the migration, let's start there, you need to go at the right time. You need to check out when is historically the best time to visit the Masai Mara to see the Great Migration. Historically, and I think this is the 24, 25 years running now, the peak of the migration has been last week, August, first week, September. So do that first. Go during that time, or as close as that as you can, to get to see the massive herds of animals cross that river. Second of all, you need to understand the logistics of the area. The Mara Triangle is the smaller, better controlled area. The Masai Mara, is it a game reserve or national reserve? National reserve. National reserve. That's a question we've got coming up next week as well. Is a lot bigger. There's a lot more lodges, which means a lot more vehicle traffic. And unfortunately, although they've been trying to fix it, it is still not as well run by the rangers as the Mara Triangle. So, we've had situations. Can you avoid vehicles altogether? The short answer there is probably not. But we place ourselves for our trips, we place ourselves in the Mara Triangle, knowing that there's fewer vehicles and the rangers are in control. They move people in and out as necessary. We've had crossings by ourselves. First thing in the morning, 7 o'clock, 3, 4, 5 in the evening when the light is beautiful. We've had those crossings happen because our camp is on the Mara River, on the Triangle side, and all the other guys are busy chasing home. So can you play the game? If you need to know the rules of the game and then put yourself in it. By doing that, you can have a good experience. That being said, I can give you a letter that if you're going to go onto a week trip, you're going to see, and you're going to be in a situation where on your side of the river, you have 4 or 5 vehicles watching the same crossing, or the build-up at least, and on the other side, it's a complete mess because the people don't care. The guides on the other side don't seem to matter. They just all pull in, big pile of them, and sometimes, yes, they do disturb the animals. There is a blog post, and I'll link this as well down in the comments, what was it called? I think Dark Side of the Mara, where Jono looked at this, and also some interesting comments on there. So, is it a reality? Yes, it is. Can you deal with it and still have an amazing experience? Absolutely, yes, you can. Now, Sarah, you also asked another question regarding crossings and such, which I'll answer in a future episode. I'm going to hold back on that one. But for now, again, don't don't let the images you see on Facebook, the sensationalist rubbish with 50 cars parked around, don't let that scare you off. That is once in a while that happens. It happens not most of the time. I'm going to put this all of the time in the Mara general side where the triangle is better controlled. They push us out. I mean, we'll be sitting in a sighting where there's 4 vehicles and another vehicle's waiting. The rangers will come and ask us, listen, leave, give the other people a chance and come back. That is control. So, I'm willing to say, if any of our guests from last year is watching this, help Sarah out here and explain, share your experience with them. Because I know for a fact that our experience was managed well. I'm going to say it one more time. Let's recap this. Is it a reality that you're going to see idiots out there? Yes, absolutely. It's a huge attraction, so you're going to see them. Can it be managed and you can still have an amazing time? Yes, absolutely.
Craig asked on email, with regards to a 400 2.8, do you have any advice on camera settings for the possibility of a cloudy day with this length of lens?
Craig, thank you for your question. I think while I'm talking to you right here now, you might be in the Kruger based on your email, but I thought let me throw this in because it's an interesting one for a lot of people as well. 400 2.8, beautiful lens. I know Marlon shoots with one, and if you look at his work, it has to be good. No, Marlon? Yeah. Beautiful lens, but it's a big piece of glass. So the question revolving around, in cloudy conditions, what is there to keep in mind? Bottom line, big lens, easier to get camera shake because of the angles of the movement. So just make sure your shutter speed is up. You all know, I'm assuming, that as a general guideline, your shutter speed should be at least, minimum, 1 over focal length. So if you're shooting a 400mm, you should try and aim to get at least 1 over 400. If you're shooting a 600, 1 over 600th of a second. See, there's a correlation there. Some people are going to say 1.5 and 2 times. That's nitpicking and unnecessary. With a lot of the camera reduction, there's a new one, vibration reduction, that 1 over focal length should give you enough shutter speed to manage that big lens, even in cloudy conditions. The length of your lens has nothing to do with the type of light. It's just the intensity. You have to make sure it keeps it up. The type of light, cloudy, white balance, those kind of things like you mentioned, that is more menu driven, and you want to worry about your white balance in that case. But no, that's it. I've got nothing else. I mean, nothing you need to compensate for. Actually, I mean, people might say because you're shooting such a big glass, you're compensating for something. No, it's a joke. Moving on. So, no, nothing to focus on. Just keep shutter speed in mind.
Get it, because it is the best lens you'll ever buy.
Look at his images and you'll see why. Yeah? Okay, Marlon's off to go training anyway now, so he's out of here. Right, so, Craig, thanks. Hope you had a good trip in the Kruger. Post some of your images on the Wild Eye page, and, yeah, just make sure that shutter speed stays up.
Kim asked on Instagram, what kind of advice would you give me about getting the most out of my compact camera?
Kim, this is an interesting question, and I like it because a lot of people bring compact cameras with them. It's kind of a point-and-shoot thing. Now, I think the lifespan of digital compact cameras are pretty much in sight. I think the end of Nikon's, Canon's producing those things is very close. This is why. Yeah? iPhones. These things, cameras are getting better and better and better, and the ability to share and be live all the time, that's fantastic. But if you still have them, and don't toss them out, keep them, getting the most out of your compact camera, you need to, first of all, realize the limitations. You're never going to get the same quality out of a compact little camera. I'm not talking things like the G16 that can shoot RAW and all those. I'm talking your base level, just point and shoot, yeah? Point and pray, mik en druk, if you're Afrikaans. You need to realize or recognize the shortcomings of it and how they function. As with a couple of episodes ago, we mentioned the iPhone. It is all about composition, composition, composition. It's what you put in that frame. Now, the most important thing, and you answered in your question there, is zooming in all the way or halfway. I would not feel comfortable zooming in 100% on a digital compact camera because it's not optical. Some of them have a little lens that comes out. Yeah? Little lens that comes out. That is optical. So the quality there is a little bit better. Then it goes into digital zoom, which is pretty much the camera cropping it in to make it look like you're getting closer. You've seen it. Look at that camera. Zoom in to something right now, 100%, and move it around. It's pixelated and horrible. It's because it's digital processes and cropping that makes you get closer. So from a wildlife point of view, I think you're always going to struggle using them unless you're in a place where you can get close. However, think of this. If I've got a big camera, 600 mil, 400 mil, like in the previous question, I can get my big shots with that, and you can have that little point and shoot or your phone and get your grab shots, because we have to take people of pictures on the safari or your wildlife experience, the landscapes, the room you're staying at, your vehicle, your guide, me and Andrew, whatever. You have to go to take those grab shots in between, and they're very handy for that, but I wouldn't zoom in very much on those things. Quality, not so much. Same on these things. Don't zoom in too much. Rather walk a little bit closer, unless it's wildlife, and get your shot like that. But quality-wise, always going to struggle to keep up with the big guns, but you can still use them. Composition, composition, composition. Right, that's it for today. Now, interesting one here. This is Thursday. Today is my birthday. Yay me. Now, two things. I would like, well, first of all, if you want to do the happy birthday thing, that's fantastic. Go onto the Facebook page and leave the messages there. But as a gift, leave me questions. Yeah? How cool is that? It's like guilt people into leaving me questions. No, seriously, birthday today. I'm on the road, so I'm going to be out of the office until next week, Monday. But leave me a birthday message with your questions, and let me answer them for you next week. I'm going to pull some of these guys in again in the office, and we can answer them for you. Also, Penny said, because I'm not here, if any of you are in the area of the design quarter in Fourways, the team would love some coffee and cake. Yes? Penny's request. So, if you're in the area, bring the guys coffee, leave me questions, and happy birthday wishes, and then we can take it from there next week. One more time, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you never miss any of the upcoming episodes. That is it for today. We're 4 episodes in, loving where this is going, and I need to hear from you guys, more questions, and get involved in the discussions. If there's something that happened, like if Marlon ran up behind me earlier on, yes? He ran up behind me, so if you want to know where he buys his t-shirts, ask the question, and let's dig in a little bit and see what we can come up with. My name is Gerry. I'm from Wild Eye. I will see you guys next time.